This is the x402 sequence flow of this entire system. So the x402 is a core functionality of the agent economy wallet that enables a true agent to agent economy. So as we can see here, this entire system is answering the question, can the agents or can an agent transact with x402? If you notice, we have the agent B, a merchant API, and the agent a buyer trying to transact basically. We can see the agent A is requesting to get analysis on a particular token that the agent B has access to. So let's assume like this, the agent B has um, the tools to analyze the token. The agent A does not have that tool, but the agent A wants to analyze it too. So it tries to um, trade with the agent B. Okay, if I should pay for this tool to get the analysis, you would send me the results. So you can see the agent to agent economy going on here. So the agent A tries to get analysis of a particular token. The agent B replies with a 402 payment required, and the price is zero point 0.1 USDC. Now, the agent A sees that the price is decent enough and it really wants to get the analysis. So it pays the zero point 0.1 USDC via PX402. It shoots it to the Solana blockchain. Then the Solana blockchain returns the transaction signature. Now, the agent A again sends the receipt of this signature together with the request to get analysis of a particular token. Now, the agent B verifies the signature across the blockchain and sees that it's valid and sends it back to itself, and thereafter analyzes the token. And the last step here, it sends the analysis data plus a 200 OK response back to the agent A, and everyone is happy. The agent B gets its the agent B gets the agent B gets its money, the agent A gets its data. So moving over to the documentation in the demo section, we can see the demo where we can run two agents over a network to simulate a true autonomous machine-to-machine economy. So we can see number one, we set up the merchant, which is the seller, and the second step will be setting up the AI buyer, which is the client. So the merchant server acts as the HTTP data provider, regarding its premium endpoints using the X402 paywall middleware. So I'll be using two different computer systems to simulate this. This particular system I'm recording this video on will be the merchant, which is the seller. So I'll run it as a server, while the second system will be the buyer, trying to hit the public endpoint to get the required data it's looking for while paying for the service. So configure the environment variable. This I've done already. Then start the server and expose it. So I'm going to start this hybrid server. So I'll copy this. I'll go over to where my root folder is located and I'll paste it here. So Agent Economy Wallet MCP server running on STDIO, Hybrid Merchant API running concurrently on port 3000. So it's currently running, meaning that it's ready for any transaction. But as we all know, it's running on localhost, so there is no way for the buyer to interact with it because they're on different network. So a trick I found was using Cloudflare to make this endpoint public and thereby helping the buyer or making it seamless for the buyer to interact with it. So I'll paste this here and we can see that Cloudflare is started with this public URL. So the um, this is what I'll give to the other computer, or the other agent, or the buyer to request for the services of this merchant server. So I'll copy this and I'll copy it. You can see also that the TUI is running. So we'll get back to this shortly.
A few moments later.
Welcome to the second computer. The buyer, as you can see, is exactly the same repository. So the repository is bifunctional, where it has functionalities for the agent being a buyer, the agent being a seller, or a merchant in this case. So before we start, let's go back to the docs and see the setting of the AI buyer. So the buyer is a local AI assistant connected to its own separate instance of the agent economy wallet, giving it the ability to hold funds and autonomously sign transactions. So first you fund the agents, we'll check for the balance later. You configure the MCP, which I've already done. You start the client. So before we proceed, let's check the balance of the wallets. So I'll copy this. No, not that. Inspect wallet balance. So I'll copy this rather. Copy this. Then I'll go back to my agents. So I'll come over here. Let's see the MCP server running. We can see the MCP server of Agent Economy Wallet running. So I'll go back to the chat. I'll paste this here. Retrieve the full balance breakdown for this wallet. Include the sole balance and every SPL token the wallet holds, which means addresses and human readable amounts. So I'll run this. So we have a result. The current balance, the amount of SOL is 2 approximately, and we have 19.95 USDC, which is enough to run this x402 micropayments. So I'll go back to the docs now. And scenario A, buying token pricing data, which is this fetch price API. So the fetch price API fetch real-time token prices via CoinGecko API. It provides real-time pricing data for SPL tokens by querying the CoinGecko aggregator natively. So the authentication is export payment signature and the cost is 0.05 USDT per request. So basically this fetch price API and the analyze token API are the merchant services that our agent economy wallet is providing. So I want to patronize this merchant service by running a request against this fetch price API. So to do that, I'll go over to demo. So I've already written a very decent prompt to get us started without wasting much time. So buying token pricing data. There's an external data provider running at this, which will replace from the Cloudflare public URL we got. Please send a GET request to that endpoint to securely get the Solana price. So we are getting the price of SOL. If the API returns a 402 payment required response, pass the invoice details from the error response. Use your PX4022 to fulfill the invoice payment of DevNet USDC to the provided merchant address and obtain the transaction signature. Once paid, immediately retry your HTTP request appending the signature in the X receipt signature header and tell me the price. So I'll copy this now. I'll go over to my agents. I'll paste this here. So next would be to get this merchant URL. I've already copied it somewhere. So this is the URL, right? I'll copy this. Then I'll go back to Claude for my agents. So I'll run this. So probing the endpoint first to confirm payment requirement before touching any funds. Valid merchant address confirmed at 0.05 USDC. So the merchant address is the wallet address of the first computer that is going to receive the payment. Here's the full report. So the current SOL price is 85.81. The source, the CoinGecko API, the timestamp remains. So the amount paid is 0.05 USDC DevNet. The merchant is this guy that received it. This is the transaction signature, and this is the explorer. So the explorer view on DevNet. So before we view this, let's check the terminal to see if this is truly an X402 payment success. So I'll go over to the logs, which is 3, and specifically X402 merchants, right? And we can see that the X402 payment was successful. This happened just about a minute ago. So it was successful. So the X402 payment was successful. Then if I should go back to Claude and view this on DevNet. So on Explorer, we can see the signature. It was successful. The fee so was this for the whole transaction. We can see our address, which is the agent's wallet address. Let's confirm. This is the wallet address, exactly the same thing. So we can see our address. We can see the two USDC mint address. So this is our USDC mint. This is the USDC mint of the merchant's address token program. So if you go back to the token balances, you can see the USDC mint of the two addresses that just interacted. We can see that there was a transfer of 0.05 USDC. The authority was our wallet, the destination, and the source. So now let's confirm our balance. So if I should go over to inspect wallet balance and show the full balance, let's see whether there was exactly 0.05 USDC that was debited. So if I paste this here, um, for this wallet. So you can see that formerly we had 19.95 USDC, but because of the recent transaction, which is the minus 0.05 payment, we now have 19.9 USDC. So the terminal agrees, everything is successful. So you can now that we can also now that we're done with this, we can also buy a security rogue check. The merchant server or the merchant agent offers services for checking if a token is robbed or scammed or whatever. So you impute the token address and you check.
A few moments later.
We are back on the merchant agent computer. So if you can remember the owner address or the merchant receiver address, because this defaults to the owner address when it's not set. So basically the merchant receiver address, this guy, is the same as what our buyer agent was trying to send USDC to. So let's confirm if there are really USDC tokens on this wallet. So I'll go back to my Phantom wallet, right? And as you can see, this is exactly the same wallet on Solana as in turn. So now exactly this is 0.35 USDC as a combination of all the transactions we did in the previous video and the ones I've even done prior to the video. So yeah, that is all for for the X402. Now, let us round up with this diagram. So, the dream of this whole software or product is the agent economy web. So, as we saw in as I've just seen, where we had an agent exposing its services via an endpoint to other agents all over the globe, we can see something like this. An agent A can, which is a data research bot, can expose its services to agent C. Agent C, which is trading bot, can also expose its services in turn to agent B or even back to agent A. So this is the dream, the X402 dream, I would call it, of the whole agent to agent economy. You can see the web, everything just connected to each other, and the payment is via X402.